I just want to quickly review concepts for the drawing the hardcover book assignment. So let's quickly go over the drawing a box again. So if I'm looking at this box to draw, I'm going to look at those parallel lines. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I've got those parallel lines. So when we're drawing a book, you have the cover and it indents. So it kind of ends up being something like this. Kind of like an ice cream sandwich, right? So you have, imagine that's the cover, then you have a box there, then you got another box on top of it lined up with that one in theory. Right? So you end up with sort of ice cream sandwichy looking affair. So if I look at, so you have these two edges and then it steps in, and do you see how this vertical edge is inset from that vertical edge? So if I was to draw something like that, you would have the overall box shape, then we have this bottom and top, and then inside of that box you would have the other one. So it would be stepped in, it would be parallel because it's lined up, but this also you can see would be stepped in. So let me get rid of this line here because it's going to be something a little bit more like, and sometimes you have to cheat it a little bit to get it to read correctly. So I will, this kind of goes back to the whole idea of the tangents. So maybe I'll put it cheated over this side. What you don't want to do is line up there. So I could either put on that side or that side. I'll put on this side. This will be lined up with that. So these guys will be lined up, but not tangent with each other. So have that inset. This also is going to come around. So even if it's not super clear, you want to maybe you might need to exaggerate that little area a little bit. Again, going back to that idea of clear overlaps. All right. So the point is, I got this big box that represents the cover on the top and bottom, and then I got this smaller box which represents the pages kind of inset, kind of like your ice cream sandwich. And what I'm doing is I'm getting these, I'm trying to make sure that this corner is inset from that and not lined up. So even if it does look lined up, that'd be kind of confusing. So I'd want to shift it over either one way or the other to make it clear that it sort of sets in. So it kind of goes back to the idea of overlaps and contours. So I've got this photograph here I took as a demo, and then I'll try to quickly sketch it out for you guys here while I'm looking at it on a screen. So like that ice cream sandwich box setup, I'm going to want to inset the cover, the pages from the cover. So I start off with my basic perspective, right? So hopefully that's more or less parallel or slightly kicked in, converging slightly, but not diverging. Making sure these guys are all the same, and the same with these. All right, so then what I can do there is then I can start, as I see that the pages are curved a little bit, but I'm going to ignore that for this drawing. So I'm just going to start off with deciding where those corners are going to be. And then I'm going to inset it a little bit this way. So I can see the pages are curved, but I'm going to make the decision not to curve them, just to make it a little bit, hopefully, easier to demo. I'll take this in here, so it's going to be the pages. And I can just go ahead and curve that a little bit for the binding. Now for this, I'm going to, I want that little bit of an indent there and there for the book hinge. And then I got the thickness of the cover here. And same over here. So I'm going to get that decide on where the corner of my cover is going to be. I'm going to inset those pages. I'm going to line up the other cover, even if it's racked a little bit, just to, again, to make it a little bit easier. So I'm exaggerating the squareness of it. And then I'm going to make this line and this line parallel. This line and this line parallel. Then here's I did that a little too far, so I'll bring the pages out again a little bit. And I will take this and bring that in here, something like that. Okay, so then I can knock that out, knock that out, square that up a little bit more. So now I also would like to get the thickness of the cover. So I will go ahead and just use the side of my pencil a little bit. If I draw on it bigger, I could probably fit a line in there, but I didn't. And looking at this, I'm actually kind of shading it opposite the actual photograph, aren't I? Where it's darker there on the top part. Oh well. Look at that. I'll do the same here. And just keep it consistent here as well. Back here. Do that same little bump there for the contour, showing some overlap. Bring it back like that. And again, I would just ignore the text. If you just can't resist, you can like block in something like this, you know, to kind of show that there's something there. But this is not about the text, it's about the basic perspective and the contours. So even like, so in acknowledging the text, I'm mostly just like kind of acknowledging that they're all following the same perspective as the rest of the book.